Welcome to the channel. This is the second video in this series on this project. We started with the practice area on the last video, learning how solder melts and how it reforms. In this project, or in this video, we're going to do project 1, turning on an LED with a switch. The switch, a control resistor, a current control resistor, and an LED, and of course the power supply. Pretty simple circuit. Should be a lot of fun. And hopefully you have your board out and it looks like this, and we'll get right into the electronics and getting the components installed. So all we're doing really is sticking power onto an LED. And we can do that with a simple little battery pack and the LED by itself. Sometimes that works. Sometimes LEDs take up way too much of the current and they go really bright, really fast, and then they go really dark, really fast. So we'll set that off to the side. This LED can handle it, sometimes they can't. Oh, and the tools that we'll be using today, we'll need a good set of cutters. I recommend something that's a flush cutter on this side. The blade is right there. Let's see if I can get in there real good. It kind of comes to a V. That's really what you want for this, so you can get in really close and get a good cut. And then for forming our leads, I recommend round nose pliers. Regular needle nose will work, but these being rounded give you a better bend on your component leads. And if you have it handy, a set of tweezers is always useful. And if you want to go really expensive, these are like 50 bucks or so. These are for setting the lead distance and forming the leads at the same time. And I'll go into this thing. It's nice to have if you're doing a lot of soldering, but it's certainly not a requirement. The cutters is really the only required tool that we have. I'll keep these on here. This is plastic, so it does get bent up when it gets thrown around in my shop, which is a huge mess. I'm glad the viewing area is just here. If you saw the rest, you would freak out. So on this breadboard, we have the circuit that's on the board. We have our switch, our resistor, and our LED. And so I'll hook my power supply up to this. I'll put the power going into the switch. And this kind of switch, you can use either side. There we go. The switch goes from here to here and here to here. How about I do this a little bit better? From here to here and here to here. Either one works. And then we'll add our ground or low or whatever you want to call it, our negative, to the other side of the diode. Make sure those aren't shorted out. Turn the power supply on, and there we go. The LED lights up. So that resistor can be very important. Not all diodes can take the full voltage right away. In fact, it's best practice to always use one. We'll go over to this diode, and we'll put our negative right there. And how about I turn off the power supply first? And we'll put our positive right there. So I'm doing the same thing that we did with this guy. But this diode might not like it. We'll see what happens. It shouldn't like it. We'll turn it on, and there we go. And it's dead. So that's what the current control resistor is for. It limits the current in the circuit so that the diode doesn't take all of the current. We can get into the math behind it, but that's not quite as fun. So let's see what this circuit is. We have our diode that we're trying to light. So we'll do that right there. But this is going to be the schematic part of the video. And so a diode has two parts to it. It's got the anode and the cathode. The cathode is the negative side and the anode is the positive side, as seen by my lovely drawings right here. Yeah, I didn't have my 5-year-old do this. I did this by myself. I are special. Now, the easiest way to remember this has little whiskers right here on the cathode side of the diode. So whiskers, like a cat, and cats are bad. I don't really think they are, except for my cat when he's meowing at me like right now while I'm filming the video. So you got your whiskers, means it's a cat, and that's negative because cats are bad. I don't really believe that, but it works. I've learned that many years ago, and it works really well. How about I leave the LED on there? The rest of our circuit is our battery, which fits on right there. And that's what we had before. The negative side of the battery goes to the cathode, the positive side of the battery goes to the anode. Because cats are bad. But we need more than that. We want to add a resistor in there so that it doesn't suck up all the current. With that resistor in there, we're limiting the current that can go through there. Not limiting, that's not the right term, but it's close enough for this. We're going to use a lot of wrong terms because I'm not going to go deep into the math and be all particular. This is just for fun stuff. And typically, that resistor is 220 ohms. So, you can go 220, 300, 330, somewhere in there. I like 220. It makes it a little bit brighter, but still limits the current enough that nothing bad's going to happen. And again, we could put the battery in, take the battery out, put the battery in, take the battery out, like that. But that's boring. So we're going to stick a switch on there. And so there's the circuit we have. Now we could put these in any order that we want, but you turn the switch on, you got the positive side going to the positive side, and then you got the negative going through the resistor to the negative side. We could also go like this, and it does the exact same thing. So let's get to building this thing. Got our project board, and we've got our components. Now, you have what's probably a stack of 10, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 or 10 resistors in your kit. We're just gonna grab one. I've used a couple of them somewhere along the way. We're on like take 82, so that might be where they're getting used. And we've got our switch, and we've got our LED that came in the kit. We'll start with the switch, and you can see it's got these little prongs there that are kind of crooked, but they come off, 2 of them come off of one side, none on that side, 2, and then redundantly, none again. Or maybe I can hold on to this thing. It's going to go in so that the side with the 2 legs, let's see if I can do this. There we go. Side with the 2 legs goes into the hole. Now it's going to take a little bit of force on there, not a whole lot. If you're having to force it in, then something's going wrong. We kind of wiggle it into place. Hopefully, let's see if we can get this onto the side here. There we go. Kind of wiggle it into place, get the legs lined up, and it'll snap right into place. And I went with the curved legs there so that you could turn it upside down and it doesn't come out. Now we're going to do these one at a time. That's the easiest way to do it. Let's see. So, get the iron warmed up, get our solder out. And if you remember from the last video, what we're looking for is concave fillets that kind of curve up and just meld right into the lead and then fill up the entire pad. This is my close-up vision. I can't do CGI, but I can do 3D printing. So, and we go to solder. Make sure to get your solder blob on there, your little heat bridge. You'll take your solder and just apply it till you get a little ball, and then you'll go on there. Now, you might see me not doing that, but I am doing it, but it's only after I've touched the component. And once we get to the component, you're going to want to put the iron right next to the lead. That'll be the best way to do it. Well, it's really the only way to do it. Put right next to the lead and on the pad, and that will give you your best heat flow. And that's what we're all about on this, is getting the heat to go where we want it to go. So I haven't done this on camera. There we go. Whoop, let me, there we go. Get a little bit of ball of solder on there. That's a heat bridge. And then we come in and you add the solder to the opposite side. And then lift. Always take the solder off and then the iron. We'll do it again here. And again on this side. And one there. And off. There we go. Now you can see that there's some little reflective goop around here. That's the flux that's inside of the solder. Now, since the last video, I've used up my my cleaning brush. So let me grab another one here. And if you didn't watch the last video, this is the best way to do this to shorten the brush and make the bristles a little bit stiffer and keep the camera in focus. You hold the bristles and cut back towards the handle. And we'll do that again on these. There we go. And then you get some rubbing alcohol on the brush and we'll get rid of all that flux. A little messy, but not too bad. We'll clean it up a little more here. There we go. And it's hard to see in the video. I'm having to go around the side. But we do have our concave fillets on these. And we have a good connection. Well, physically, it looks like a good connection. We'll test it all out when we get it all put back together. So now we'll go to put the resistor in. The easiest way to do this without the fancy tool is you take your round nose, you lay your resistor down, you take your long nose pliers, and you line it up to where it is right next to the hole. Let me try and do this without looking through the camera. There we go. Line it up like that, and then you bend the lead side over. And try not to drop the resistor on the floor. There we go. So we got a good 90-degree bend there. And then stick one side in and come at the, there we go, come at it from the side right there. We'll lift the whole thing out and then we'll just bend the lead over right there. Now, if I did this right, this will drop right in. And I did it close enough. So yet again, we'll flip it over. Now, if you got it perfectly straight, your resistor is going to start falling back out. So you can pull the legs out a little ways and that'll help hold it in place. Or if you messed it up like I did, you don't have to worry about that. And yet again, we'll come in, we'll get our little solder blob for the heat bridge. Let me do this without the camera. There we go. Touch there. Add the solder from the other side. And lift up. We've still got some of the heat bridge on there, so we'll go straight to the next one. We'll add the solder in. And lift it up. And this is where those flush cutters come in handy. Now to get the proper length, wow, that's still warm. All right, to get the proper length, the best thing to do is just cut off a piece of the lead and you come in with your cutters, keep them flat against the board, being lifted up, oops, there we go, lifted up the right amount by that lead. I cannot do this through the camera. I'm really not good at that. There we go. Keep them parallel to the board and lift them up just by the lead and snip away. And you might want to have safety glasses on for this. It's probably a good idea. I've got a great big phone in front of my face, so I'm protected. We'll come back in, keep the cutters parallel to the board and cut that guy off right there. And there we go. We've got the perfect length. We've got our concave fillets and we'll clean it up a little bit. Now, leaving the flux on doesn't affect it right away, but it does attract more dirt and gunk and corrosion, so it's probably best to just always trim it off. And there we go. That one's in. So now the last one, the switch and the LED weren't too important as to which way was top and which way was bottom. But the diode is going to be very important since it has a negative side and a positive side. So here's a model of a diode, and you can see that one leg is longer than the other. And since cats are bad, The short side is the cathode. Now, if they're both cut to the same length, you can look on the side here and there'll be a flat spot on the diode. This side obviously rounded, this side is flat. And that flat side is always the cathode. So if you look on your diode, I don't know if this will show up on the film. How old am I? There's a flat side over here and a round side over there. And you can see one leg is shorter than the other. That leg is the cathode. Now, if you look on the board itself, you can see that there's a flat spot over here. If it's in focus, a flat spot in the diagram. So that's going to be our cathode there. So we'll put the long leg in here, and we'll get the short leg in there, and we'll just drive it all the way down. It should fall right into place. And since it's doing that, we'll spread those guys out. And that holds it into place while we solder it. So we can go through an earthquake. We're good to go. So get the soldering iron out. Add our little heat bridge. There we go. And add some solder. Take it off. Add some solder. Oops, there we go. And take it off. Then we'll get our right length. Right there. And right there. There we go. So we have all three components soldered in. And we'll see if this thing works. I need a power supply. And I'll just use this thing. So we go, actually, we'll do it with the battery pack. There we go. I've got a battery pack right here. We're not going to solder these in because that would be a pain in the butt for later on. So we'll put the black one in the black and the red one in the red. There we go. Okay, we'll get some batteries in there. Stealing it from the other project because I don't know where all my batteries got to. All right, we're gonna mix up batteries here. I don't even know if that's a good battery. And number 3. Let's see if this works. Hey, it works. So there you go. That's how you know if you got the soldering right, you can light up the light. Stay tuned for the next video and we'll go into the second project where we have a color LED that you can control and change the color on. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching.